Emily Harper sat by the large glass window in her California mansion, staring at the golden sunlight spilling across the manicured garden. The accident had changed everything. 2 years ago, a single moment had taken away her ability to walk, confining her to a wheelchair. Her world, once vibrant and full of possibilities, now felt like a prison. Despite the wealth surrounding her, luxurious rooms, designer clothes, and endless resources, Emily felt trapped in her own body. She longed for the independence she once took for granted, the simple joy of walking in the park, feeling the grass under her feet, or even running without fear. The emotional weight of her paralysis pressed heavily on her young shoulders. Her mother, Claire Harper, had tried every conceivable therapy, hiring specialists from across the country. Yet each attempt ended in disappointment, leaving both mother and daughter emotionally drained. Claire's eyes often welled up with tears when she saw Emily struggling with basic tasks, the frustration evident in her daughter's movements. The house, once full of laughter, had grown quieter, the air heavy with unspoken sadness. Emily, despite her strength and intelligence, sometimes felt hopeless. The wealth that had protected her family could not repair her damaged body, and she began to feel the cruel reality that some things money could not buy were worth more than any fortune. One afternoon, a friend of the family suggested a young mechanic named Jake, a 25-year-old known for his innovative designs and creative solutions. At first, Claire was hesitant. How could a mechanic, someone with no formal medical training, help her paralyzed daughter? Yet desperation had a way of pushing boundaries. Emily, skeptical but secretly curious, agreed to meet him. When Jake arrived, he carried a toolbox, blueprints, and an air of quiet confidence. Unlike the expensive specialists who had treated her like a fragile patient, Jake spoke to Emily directly, listening to her fears, her goals, and her vision for regaining mobility. It was a refreshing change, and Emily felt a spark of hope she hadn't felt in months. Jake examined Emily carefully, his eyes attentive to every subtle movement. He asked her to attempt small motions, wiggling her toes, flexing her legs, and shifting her weight in the chair. Emily's attempts were cautious, her body stiff and uncooperative, yet Jake's presence was calming, patient, and respectful. He sketched designs on his notepad, explaining ideas in simple terms. "This isn't about magic," he said, smiling gently. "It's about understanding what your body can do and helping it do more." Emily was intrigued by his confidence. Unlike the doctors who often focused on what she couldn't do, Jake concentrated on possibilities, igniting a feeling of empowerment within her that had long been dormant. Over the next few days, Jake returned with various mechanical parts, blueprints, and prototypes. He worked tirelessly in the spacious garage of the Harper estate, surrounded by high-end tools and technology. Emily watched him, fascinated by the precision and thought behind every adjustment. Each day he encouraged her to try small exercises, lifting her legs, balancing with partial support, and eventually standing with assistance. Emily's muscles ached, her frustration surfaced, and tears often fell, but Jake's patience never wavered. "Every small step is in progress," he reminded her. Slowly, her confidence grew. For the first time in 2 years, she felt like a participant in her recovery rather than a passive observer. Claire observed these sessions quietly, her emotions raw. She was amazed at the bond forming between her daughter and Jake. There was no patronizing pity, only genuine care and attention. She often found herself holding her breath, watching Emily attempt movements she once thought impossible. The house, which had felt cold and tense for so long, began to carry an undercurrent of hope. Even Thomas, Emily's father, who often remained distant due to business commitments, noticed the change. He saw his daughter smile more, laugh more, and perhaps, most importantly, dream again. The seeds of transformation were being planted, nurtured by a young man who refused to see limitations. Emily's evenings became filled with anticipation rather than dread. She looked forward to Jake's arrival and the exercises they would attempt together. She marveled at the way he encouraged her, correcting posture gently, celebrating small victories, and maintaining unwavering optimism. For Emily, these moments became more than therapy. They were a chance to reclaim agency over her body. The mechanical contraptions, once intimidating, now represented possibility. Each adjustment, each strap, and each support system brought her closer to independence. With every tiny success, Emily's sense of despair eroded, replaced by determination, courage, and a glimmer of excitement she hadn't felt in years. The breakthrough came unexpectedly one afternoon. Jake had devised a prototype exoskeleton tailored to Emily's condition. With careful guidance, she attempted to bear weight on her legs while strapped into the device. Her muscles screamed in protest, and tears blurred her vision. Yet Jake's steady hands and encouraging words pushed her onward. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Emily's legs supported her. Wait! Her heart raced with a mix of fear and exhilaration. For the first time in 2 years, she experienced the sensation of standing, however brief. The room erupted with quiet awe. Claire's hands trembled with emotion, and Emily's face lit up with disbelief and joy. By the end of that day, Emily had stood and even taken a few tentative steps with Jake's support. The experience left her exhilarated yet exhausted, but she couldn't stop smiling. For months, she had felt imprisoned by her own body, but now a door to freedom had opened. She felt a new connection to life itself, one filled with possibilities she had thought lost forever. The bond with Jake deepened, rooted not only in trust, but also in mutual respect and shared determination. That evening, as the sun set over the California estate, Emily felt a flicker of hope, the first in years that her life could be whole again. Emily lay in bed that night, her mind racing with the day's events. She replayed every step she had taken, every sensation of movement, every moment of triumph. For the first time, sleep came with a smile, rather than tears. She knew the journey ahead would be long, filled with challenges and moments of frustration. Yet for the first time in years, she believed in the possibility of walking again. The mechanic, Jake, was more than a helper. He was the key to her new beginning. In the quiet of her room, surrounded by wealth but finding value in determination and human connection, Emily Harper dreamed of a life regained. Emily woke early the next morning, her excitement barely contained. The breakthrough from yesterday still lingered in her mind. The brief moment of standing had ignited a hope she hadn't felt in years. Jake arrived promptly, carrying new modifications for the exoskeleton he had designed specifically for her body. Today's goal was simple: to take her first steps independently, without relying fully on his support. Emily's muscles ached from yesterday's effort, but the determination in her heart outweighed any physical pain. She took a deep breath, reminding herself that progress required patience and courage, and that every movement, no matter how small, was a victory in itself. Jake adjusted the exoskeleton carefully, tightening straps and checking alignment. "We'll take it slow," he said, his voice calm and reassuring. Emily nodded, gripping the handles nervously. The first attempt was shaky, her legs trembled and she nearly lost balance. But Jake's quick reflexes kept her upright. The sensation of weight and movement was both exhilarating and terrifying. Emily's heart raced as she focused on each step, her mind recalling the mechanics Jake had explained. This wasn't just physical training, it was a mental battle, learning to trust her body. Again, after months of immobility, slowly she took a few steps, and the room filled with quiet awe. Claire watched from the sidelines, tears streaming down her face as she witnessed her daughter standing on her own, even if only briefly. The emotion was overwhelming. For months, she had feared her daughter would never regain independence. Emily's determination and Jake's patient guidance had defied all expectations. Each step Emily took was a testament to resilience and courage. Claire felt a surge of pride mixed with relief, knowing that Emily was reclaiming a part of her life that had seemed lost forever. And the house, once silent and tense, now resonated with hope and joy. Emily's laughter and concentration created an energy that seemed to breathe new life into every corner. Over the next few days, Emily's confidence grew steadily. Jake continued to refine the exoskeleton, adjusting the mechanics to better support her natural movements. Emily practiced walking short distances, learning to balance, shift weight, and coordinate her legs. The exercises were exhausting, and there were moments of frustration when progress felt slow, but Jake's unwavering encouragement kept her moving forward. "You're stronger than you think," he would remind her gently, correcting her posture and celebrating even the smallest victories. Emily began to feel a sense of empowerment she hadn't experienced since the accident, realizing that her determination was as important as the device itself in this journey. One afternoon, Emily managed to walk across the garden with Jake's support. The sight was breathtaking, sunlight glinting off the exoskeleton, her expression a mixture of concentration and exhilaration. Claire and Thomas watched in awe, their emotions raw and unfiltered. For Thomas, it was a moment of pride and gratitude, seeing his daughter take steps that once seemed impossible. The neighbors who occasionally peeked over the fence could hardly believe their eyes. It was more than a technological achievement. It was a miracle of persistence, compassion, and human ingenuity. Emily's laughter, unrestrained and joyous, filled the estate, marking a turning point in her journey toward full independence. Emily's routine soon included more challenging exercises. She practiced walking longer distances, turning corners, and climbing gentle inclines. Each attempt brought a mix of triumph and fatigue, but with Jake's guidance she grew increasingly confident. Emily began to rely less on his physical support, instead trusting her own strength and balance. The exoskeleton had become an extension of her body, allowing her to feel mobility in a way she hadn't for years. Each step forward was not just a physical achievement, but an emotional one, restoring her sense of agency and autonomy. Slowly, the barrier of fear that had held her back began to dissolve. The bond between Emily and Jake deepened over these sessions. Beyond the mechanics and exercises, a genuine connection formed, built on trust, respect, and shared determination. Emily appreciated his patience, empathy, and unwavering belief in her abilities. Jake, in turn, admired her resilience and courage, witnessing firsthand the transformation of someone who refused to surrender to circumstance. Claire often observed the two, recognizing that Jake's presence had brought more than mobility. It had brought hope, companionship, and inspiration. Emily's world, once defined by a limitation, was expanding with each step she took, and the relationship with her mentor became a source of strength and encouragement. One evening, Emily managed to walk unaided across the living room, her legs supporting her fully, with only the exoskeleton's help. The achievement was monumental. Tears streamed down Claire's face as she rushed to embrace her daughter, overwhelmed by the emotions of relief, pride, and joy. Thomas joined, his hands shaking as he guided Emily to a chair, a mixture of awe and gratitude in his eyes. Emily's laughter rang through the house, free and unrestrained, a sound that had been absent for far too long. The journey was far from over, but the victory was undeniable, a tangible reminder that persistence, love, and ingenuity could overcome even the most daunting obstacles. Emily's daily life began to transform. She resumed simple activities she had missed for years, walking in the garden, attending classes online, and participating in family outings. Each movement reinforced her confidence, and her emotional state improved dramatically. The experience had reshaped her identity, allowing her to reclaim independence and dignity. Jake remained a constant presence, ensuring safety and progress while nurturing her determination. Emily, once constrained by paralysis, now felt the world opening up. Before her, filled with possibilities she had feared were lost forever. The house was alive with hope, laughter, and the promise of a new beginning. By the end of the month, Emily could walk longer distances, perform basic exercises independently, and navigate her home with minimal assistance. The journey from despair to empowerment had been arduous, but every challenge had strengthened her resolve. Claire and Thomas witnessed the transformation with gratitude, marveling at the young mechanic whose compassion and skill had changed their daughter's life. Emily, filled with newfound courage and determination, looked forward to the next phase of her recovery, ready to explore life beyond limitations. The bond with Jake, the progress in mobility, and the rekindled joy marked the dawn of a new chapter, a life reclaimed from the shadows of tragedy. The morning sun poured through the tall windows of the Harper estate, casting a warm glow over the living room. Emily felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she prepared for her most ambitious attempt yet, walking across the garden completely unaided, relying solely on the exoskeleton and her own balance. Jake carefully adjusted the device, double-checking every strap, hinge, and support. "You're ready," he said softly, offering a reassuring smile. Emily nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation. After weeks of training, small steps, and countless corrections, this moment felt like a culmination of determination, patience, and hope. She took a deep breath, ready to embrace the challenge. With a firm grip on her chair for balance, Emily pushed herself up and felt her legs bear her weight. The sensation was foreign yet exhilarating, her muscles trembling but cooperating in ways they hadn't in years. Jake stayed close, ready to catch her if needed, but Emily felt a newfound confidence. Each step she took was deliberate, measured, and full of intention. The garden, bathed in sunlight and lined with flowers, became a stage for her triumph. Birds chirped in the background, and a gentle breeze brushed against her face, adding to the surreal beauty of the moment. Claire and Thomas watched from the veranda, their emotions overwhelming. Emily's first few steps were wobbly, but she refused to give in to fear. Each movement required focus, coordination, and courage. The exoskeleton provided essential support, yet it was her determination that carried her forward. As she progressed, she began to trust her body again, relying less on the device and more on her own strength. A sense of liberation washed over her, the freedom to move, to explore, and to reclaim life. Claire's hands trembled as she clutched her chest, tears flowing freely. Thomas, usually composed, allowed himself a small smile of pride, witnessing a miracle unfold before his eyes. Emily's laughter, light and joyous, filled the garden. By the time Emily reached the edge of the garden, she had walked a full 30 feet unaided, her movements becoming smoother and more natural. The exoskeleton had become an extension of her body, assisting when necessary, but allowing her independence. Jake stood behind her, observing with pride, but resisting the urge to intervene. Emily looked back at him, eyes shining with gratitude and awe. "I can do this," she whispered, almost to herself, but Jake heard, and his smile deepened. It wasn't just the technology that mattered. It was the bond, trust, and shared effort that made this achievement possible. This moment marked a profound shift in Emily's life. Over the next few days, Emily pushed herself further, practicing longer distances and more complex movements. Walking up gentle inclines, navigating uneven surfaces, and even attempting small turns became in part of her routine. Each day, she relied less on Jake's guidance, gaining confidence in her body's abilities. Claire and Thomas watched with amazement, realizing that the girl who had once been paralyzed was transforming before their eyes. Emily's independence grew, and with it a sense of empowerment. She no longer viewed herself as fragile or limited. She was a young woman reclaiming life, one step at a time, with courage, determination, and the support of someone who believed in her unconditionally. The bond between Emily and Jake had deepened beyond teacher and student. It was built on trust, respect, and shared triumphs. Emily admired his dedication, intelligence, and kindness, while Jake was inspired by her resilience and determination. Their connection, forged through countless hours of effort and emotion, became a source of strength for both. Emily no longer felt alone in her struggle. She had a partner who genuinely cared about her progress and well-being. The relationship reminded her that healing was not just physical, it was emotional, mental, and deeply human. This connection provided motivation, courage, and joy, fueling her journey toward full mobility. One evening, Emily managed to walk across the terrace to her parents without any assistance, the exoskeleton providing minimal support. The achievement was monumental, a culmination of weeks of perseverance, sweat, and unwavering determination. Claire ran to embrace her daughter, tears streaming down her face, overwhelmed by relief, pride, and joy. Thomas followed, guiding Emily to a chair, his hands shaking slightly. The moment was unforgettable. A family reunited with hope and happiness, witnessing the tangible results of effort, ingenuity, and love. Emily laughed freely, a sound that had been absent for years, a symbol of freedom, victory, and reclaimed life. Emily's life began to change dramatically. She resumed activities she had thought impossible, attending online classes, walking through her neighborhood, and even participating in light physical exercises. Each accomplishment reinforced her confidence, while her emotional well-being flourished. The trauma of paralysis, once overwhelming, was being replaced by empowerment, joy, and ambition. Jake continued to guide her in more advanced exercises, ensuring her safety while encouraging independence. Emily began to dream again of college, friends, and adventures. The world, once a place of limitation, had reopened, offering endless possibilities and opportunities she was now ready to embrace. Claire and Thomas marveled at the transformation. The journey from despair to hope had not been easy, but it had been profound. Emily's regained mobility inspired the family, reminding them of the power of determination, trust, and human ingenuity. Jake, once a humble mechanic, had become a hero in their eyes, a catalyst for change and a symbol of compassion. Emily, filled with gratitude, resilience, and joy, felt a new chapter beginning. Her life was no longer defined by what she had lost, but by what she had regained. The miracle of mobility had reshaped her identity, giving her independence, hope, and dreams for the future. By the end of Part 3, Emily could walk confidently with minimal assistance, her life transformed. The exoskeleton, once a symbol of dependence, had become a bridge to independence, her emotional and physical recovery intertwined, fostering a new sense of identity and purpose. The journey had strengthened her bond with Jake, who remained a constant source of support and guidance. Emily's family, filled with gratitude and awe, celebrated her resilience and courage. Life, once constrained by tragedy, now expanded with opportunities, freedom, and joy. Emily Harper's story stood as a testament to hope, perseverance, and the extraordinary power of human connection.